Recently, I saw something on Facebook that caught my attention. Someone had asked, do pilots ever get fearful about flying? Are they afraid to fly? Thought about that for a second. And I don't think I've ever met a pilot who's actually afraid to fly, afraid of airplanes, or just afraid in general. But there are some things that do concern us. They fall into three categories. The first one I would say is weather. What kind of weather are you dealing with, either your origin station, en route, and destination? That'll play on your mind sometimes, particularly if there are thunderstorms along the route at the destination, at your point of origin, things you've got to negotiate. That could be, potentially troublesome. What kind of delays will be there? Another part of weather is whether or not it's snowing, whether you'll need to de-ice. De-icing procedure is essential to get snow and ice off the airplane, to have a clean control surface, to give it the lift to act as an airplane. That takes a while, and there are a lot of special procedures that go in with that. So you're not going to have just a regular day. And the other thing that really concerns people is the condition of the airplane. Generally, the conditions of the airplane are fine, but there is something called the MEL, the minimum equipment list. And long story short, it's not necessary for every working component to function properly for an airplane to dispatch legally. There are certain things that are allowed to be inoperative. There's something called the master minimum equipment list that's put out by the manufacturer and kind of blessed by the FAA. Then each individual company has their own minimum equipment list, what you need to depart, what systems have to be operating, or if there's a system or a subsystem that's not operating properly, can you legally and safely fly without it? And there are many things that you really don't need. Certain pieces on the airplane you really don't need. They may incur a fuel penalty or require some operational change and require the crew to satisfy a number of conditions where they have to perform a number of procedures, maybe nothing or maybe a lot, just to get going, particularly if it's something with an electrical system or the pneumatic system. They can be rather complex. So, a little more brain work is going to be involved there. In addition, if you have certain emergencies, depending on what is not working perfectly, may require a modification, other procedures. And all that is spelled out, but that's a little bit, more to think about. And the last area that gives concern is medical. Everyone wants to pass through medical. We're required for a first-class medical, we're required to get an examination every 6 months. And it's pretty, basic: sight, hearing, blood pressure, the usual stuff. It's not too in-depth, but as people get older, some of the things that might have been easy in your 20s are not so easy in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. In addition, those over 40 years of age have to get an EKG at least once a year. And in the US, those results go immediately from the flight surgeon to the FAA, and they're reviewed right away. Nobody wants to have a medical problem, but sometimes people do. And I've known people who've lost their medical, and when you lose your medical, you really can't fly legally until you are physically qualified to fly again. That might be a matter of days to years or even decades. A friend of mine was out for 15 years with several chronic conditions that he actually overcame. It's really kind of miraculous. So medical is a big one as we all get older. In my case, I've had a couple little hiccups, but the biggest thing is, if you have 20/20 eyesight, it's great. And I had actually 20/15 eyesight for quite a while, then 20/20 until I didn't. And, my certificate would read, everything, you passed everything, but to operate the airplane, you need to wear corrective lenses. So I got glasses. If you lose your medical, sometimes it takes a lot of effort and time to get it back. There are a lot of regulatory requirements, and that can be very stressful. In my case, I got mine back, very easily with no stories. It was very, very routine. But I know countless people who've really run into bureaucratic nightmares. So everyone likes to fly. No one's afraid of flying. We do our best. And to everyone out there, no matter what you're doing, take care of your health. Take care of yourself. It's important whether you fly or not. Thanks.